Jewish time and the Jewish life cycle is marked by a number of shofarot, a number of shofar blasts. We have, of course, the shofar that serves as the centerpiece of the Rosh Hashanah prayers that's going to be blown in Shul in less than a week from now. We have the shofar of the Yovel that signals the freeing of the slaves in the Jubilee year. We have the shofar that signals the going out to war. And we also have the shofar Tkab Shofar Gadol L'Chayruseinu, the final shofar, the final messianic blast of the shofar that signals the end of the trials and tribulations of Jewish history. Just to return for a moment for the shofar, that little taste of that final shofar blast that we have on every Rosh Hashanah. The Gemara says to us, why do we have this? And we say that we have an aspect, this tripartite aspect of Rosh Hashanah, Malchios, Zichronos, Shofros. What's Yom Zichron Shua? Says the Gemara on Meseches Rosh Hashanah, Daf Tezayin Amid Aleph. Amar Rabbi Abau, Tokin b'shofar shal ayil. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tiku lefanai b'shofar. We should blow a shofar of a ram's horn. Kidei she'izchir lechem akidaso she'yitzchak. So that I'll be reminded of the Akedah, of the binding of Isaac. Of course, Isaac in his near sacrifice, at the last moment, stayed by the hand of God, and the calling out to Abraham to stay his hand, turns and becomes the sacrifice of that first ayil, that first ram, which represents to us the ultimate self-abnegation and the ability to go ahead and to give ourselves our utmost to God in this world, our mission as Jews. Rav Kook, sensitive to this and sensitive to the powerful, penetrating imagery of the shofar on Rosh Hashanah, writes as such in his beautiful poem that you have on your source sheets. Rav Kook was well known for writing poetry. He has in the Chamishiyah, the name given in the Hesder Yeshivot to the 5 Sfarim printed together, Orot HaTorah, Orot HaTshuva, Reish Milin, Musar Avicha, and Midot Raya. Rav Kook has in there a number of poems, each of them corresponding to different holidays. He has an entire 3-page poem on the halachos of Chanukah. And again, for Rosh Hashanah, we see this poem of Rav Kook alluding to the Shofar Gadol, the final shofar of our redemption. Alei Rosh Hahar, Alei Rosh HaPisgah, arrive to the top of that mountain. And that should be the feeling that we have on Rosh Hashanah, that after all these prayers and after all the slichot, that we reach this pinnacle that's not going to subside until the final Hashem Hu HaElokim of Yom Kippur. Rav Kook in 1933 gave a very famous lecture in Jerusalem's Churva synagogue, the old city. It's reported in Midot Ra'aya, in Moadei Ra'aya by Rav Neria. Rav Kook said that there are 3 shofarot, 3 kinds of shofarot. Halacha says that the first one, according to the Gemara, should be a shofar shal ayil, should be a ram's horn. And that horn is the best horn to have for Rosh Hashanah. If you can't find that, then we have the ability to go ahead and blow from a shofar of any kosher animal. If that's not able to be found, then of course, in the most b'diavad situation possible, the horn of an unclean animal, of a treif animal, may be used for shofar in a situation of stress and duress. Rav Kook began to say, in his beautiful, masterfully darshan way, that the kosher shofar, the shofar sha'ayil, represents dedication of people like Avraham Avinu, people that are completely dedicated to God, and everything that they do is weighed, the mishchal, of how is this going to look in God's eyes, and that's how they lead their life. And that's the Zichron Shua that we should strive for in this Tshuva season. Of course, there's another shofar. There's the shofar that represents people that may be returned to the land of Israel, people that come there, not necessarily out of the most strictly religious reasons, but out of a sense of cultural attachment for their families, to go ahead and to try and rebuild the Jewish people and Jewish nation, and that's still a very beautiful thing. However, and at this point Rav Kook begins to cry, he says there's a third shofar of the unclean animal, which symbolizes the return to the land because of the oppression, because of the sounds of war of the other nations. And of course in 1933, this was becoming readily apparent already with the struggles of German Jewry. And that's the shofar that we should never hear again. And we should hear the shofar again this Chag, and Mirz Hashem in Yerushalayim, the shofar of Avram, the Tiku B'chol, the shofar of the Kes Liyom Chagenu. Even in the darkness, we hear the clarion call of the shofar of the ram, of the Akedah, and Hashem should be remembering all of us, the same way as Zera Avram, as descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and we should be inscribed in the book of life for sweet, happy, and healthy New Year.